Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds. We're going to be grading some cards today.
Grading every rare and mythic from the new Commander set from Dungeons & Dragons.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us, the Nitpicking Nerds, daily content. You know the deal. TCG player link, you know the deal. Click the link, navigate, buy cards. We get a kickback on the order. You help support the channel without spending any extra money. Wait, what is this? Is it some kind of life hack? Also, patreon.com. Best way to support us with actual dollars. We'll really appreciate it. And you get a sweet perk as a bonus.
Yes. So hopping right into this video, we are going over all the rares and all of the mythic rares, excluding legends, from the new D&D Commander set here.
Yeah, you know the drill by now. A is auto-include, B is build around, C is cuttable, D, don't bother, and F is forget about it.
Yes.
And these grades, they're not as important as what we're actually saying about it, which is why I just kind of glossed over it. If you want a longer spiel, we already did that 5 times, so go check out the first in the series of these videos and you can get a much more detailed analysis. But we're going to tell you everything we think anyway.
The lower the grade, the more of a reason you need to play it. That's the best way to think about these grades. If it gets an F, you obviously need a much bigger reason to play it. We're not talking about CDH. We're not talking about budget here. The one last thing I want to say, anything that gets an A, B, C, or D is playable in some decks. F is where you really just want to completely steer clear. But obviously, you need a higher reason to play a D than you do an A.
And I like this card is already a good enough reason.
Exactly.
We're kind of just trying to give you some power level advice for when you want to make your decks better or just learn from us, from what we know. First card is Arcane Endeavor, and we gave it a D.
I'm not a big fan of this card. You roll 2 D8s, you draw cards, and you can cast into your sorcery for free, equal to one of them, and the other one's to draw. No, not interested. So the average is a 3. You just do the averages to like 3 and a 4. Draw 4 cards for 7 mana. No, not interested. I'm sorry.
3-drop. It's 7 mana. If this was like an instant or had some other flair on it, I'm in, but I'm not in at this cost.
I guess the average is a 4 and a 5. Draw 5 cards, cast a 4-drop. It's just not enough. It's not there. And
I'm not there yet.
With too low, with the floor being so low, I can't afford to play the 7 mana and get the floor that can just absolutely be devastating on this.
At sorcery speed, it is a disaster if this doesn't go your way.
Exactly. Next, Bag of Devouring. This card is just not that good. It's when you sacrifice stuff, it goes in it. Then there's a chance to get some of it back.
I think in a sack deck, you just want a creature. And we have plenty of ways to do this. It's not a reliable sack outlet. It's just slow, just like Bag of Holding. I like the flavor of it, but in terms of playability, it's just another D.
Yeah, exactly. It's another D. And when I first started grading, because these first ones, they're really bad, I thought the set was going to be a stinker. There's some good ones. Don't worry.
We can probably skip through these next 3 pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, this is another D+, and it's Bag of Tricks. It's too much mana. It's too much mana to get this thing and start doing it. It's all right, and it's not super weak, but it's 5 mana for the first activation, 9 when you've done 2, and it's not fast enough.
Like with all the Ds, what playable cards are you cutting for this?
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to take any good card out of my deck to play this jank.
Exactly. Belt of Giant Strength. This is the equipment that wants you to either play other equipment or +1/+1 counters, and then it's not too bad to equip, and then it gives +10/+10 basically if your creature's suited up in some other way. But this is weird. It's a lot of hoops to jump through. Green equipment.
Exactly. I'm not interested in this. What is this? You have to be playing a bunch of other equipments, and then you have to care. And it is absolutely terrible on a vanilla creature because in order to get its cost lower, so you just need to be doing some other tricks. It's way too much, and I'm super off this card.
Yeah, we're just gonna pass for the most part. Chaos Dragon. What does that do?
It's a flying 4/4, and you roll basically so you get to attack. This thing has haste, and it is a 3-drop. This can get a lot of damage in. It's a C. It's middle of the road. It's nothing crazy. But I really think this card will just deal crazy amounts of damage over the course of the game. You ever play this on turn 3, you're looking at potentially dealing 20 damage. This card just wants to be answered. And it's one of those cards where it's not the biggest threat.
Never.
There's only a 1 in 3 chance I'm going to get hit with it. So I think it's going to get a lot of damage off a lot of the time.
My one gripe with this is I wish it was a little bigger. I'll trade I wish it was a 4-mana 6/6 or something. I just think the stats are low enough that it could potentially have players that can't attack profitably and then it'll die. So I just don't want that to happen. But if that's not going to happen, this will deal a bunch of damage, maybe for an aggro deck or some chaos deck.
Yeah. And after this, we have Dance Macabre, whatever. It's a C+. Everyone sacrifices creatures and you get one of them back, or if you roll really nice, you get to get 2 of them back.
Or if you just sacrifice a big enough thing, you can rig this one always in your favor so that you get 2 things sacrificed this way, including the thing you just sacrificed. So maybe with like Grave Titan or a good magic card, you can get some pretty sick value, and you're always going to get a card. They can't sack a token. They can't do the cop-out that you usually can with the flesh bag effects.
Yes.
So I like it.
Yeah, exactly. So it gives you a little bit more value there. This card was probably you'll probably try it out in some reanimation decks when we want to make people sack. Just depends on what you want to do with it. It seems like it's a decent card at minimum.
Yeah, try it out, but it might not be what your deck is looking for, especially if you're creature-centric. It's like, cut a creature for this? Not really.
Yeah. Next is Death Tyrant.
This is the Beholder that says if you're attacking creatures or they're blocking creatures die, you get zombies tapped, and then this thing can, surprise, come out of the graveyard. Not much of a surprise, but if it's during combat, boom, you get even more zombies, and they might not have seen it coming.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of this card. I think it's a nice B-. You just want to get into combat, do lots of attacking, and while you're doing all that attacking, you're just trading off creatures, and you're getting zombies. So I am definitely a fan of this card. I think it has homes. Different important. It's a solid B. I really like this card. It's just it goes in that like slot of like there's the new one from the last Commander set that we got.
Commander's Insight, Blue Sun Zenith, and this are like competing for that slot. Or maybe you have multiples, and I think this is actually going to be pretty sweet. You don't need to draw 7. We don't need to scry 7, draw 7. You can settle for a draw 7. The floor is pretty okay because you control what X is. Unlike the other ones where it's like, oh, deal damage and lose the game. This one is, you always draw 7. Scry 7, draw 7 is nuts.
Yeah, and if you can keep your hand up, this card will really be like, casting him on the low end sometimes feels a little rough, but you can do this one for 3, and if you can get scry 3, draw 3 out of it, it's so much better than that draw 3.
It's still below rate, but it's definitely fine.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So like you're obviously looking to cast this for a higher amount, but I think that really helps. That dice roll improvement of being able to cast it earlier in the game really gives it a little boost.
Yeah, so definitely this is one to really consider if you have an X draw spell slot. Maybe you want to try it out. Dragonborn Champion is a B-. This is letting you turn burn spells or chunky boys into actual cards in a red-green creature.
Yeah, you get in. If you're playing a lot of big chunky things, you're just gonna beat in, and so they're gonna want to block it. But also, your guys are probably like big old creatures, and they're not gonna want to block that.
Yeah, and if you're like doing the Heb things and you're just burning them straight up, the card replaces itself. You can do some other stuff with it. Double strike, I think you really want some double strike, right?
Yeah, you definitely want double strike with this guy. It's just a solid card draw engine, your big chunky boy decks.
Right. Next, best card from this, not close, it's Druid of Purification. It's an A. This is a staple. This card, we've talked about it a little bit in past videos. We're not going to rehash all of it. It's a 4-for-1. Unless they make deals that they probably shouldn't make that are bad for them, especially when you're not winning. You can bully the person in first, team up, take everything out, chop everyone down to size. It's an ETB. There's nothing to say. This card's amazing. And
it can't hit your stuff. That's all. That's the big thing on it. It never hits your things. This card is very strong. Yes, it is just the best card from the set, like BZ said.
Really, really good.
Yeah. And next is Extract Brain. It's a D+.
It's the X blue black, and you can steal a card from someone's hand for free. I don't think it's terrible. If they have low cards in hand, you get to see their whole hand for like 5 mana or 6 mana. It doesn't care what the cost is. In my head, the X is tied to the cost, but it's not.
I'm scared of the blind. You
could just get screwed even if they have 7 cards, right? That maybe it's just something you're not interested in.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just scared of the blind goes, and like you don't know what's in your opponent's hand. This card might be a little better than I'm giving it credit for, but I got it at D+, and I don't think it's a very good card.
We're not giving it much credit. Maybe it's a C, but it's a D+. Either way, it's a pretty cuttable card. Along with Fevered Suspicion.
Fevered Suspicion. This is an 8-mana card. I gave it a C. You're gonna get free things from everybody. I love this card. I really, really love this card, but I don't think it's that crazy good. It's a cuttable card from almost any deck, unless you're doing, what I'm doing and playing my opponent's stuff.
It's your classic giant card that isn't a finisher. So, like, what are you supposed to do with it? How many of those can you have in your deck? That's the type of issue you run into. But if your deck's super cheap, maybe you're like the Tybalt deck and you don't have a dedicated finisher, boom, this is 8 cards for free.
Yeah, I really like this card. I think it's absolutely just awesome.
Awesome. Not amazing, just an awesome card and a good card. I think it is on the good side. It's also Face Steed, which is basically just going to protect your creatures from single target removal. And by protect, I mean if they die, I drew a card, so I'm not too worried about it.
It's also, I like that it's a 4/4 body. It's a nice body, and it gives a creature that's attacking indestructible, so you can get in some nice attacks with it.
Yeah, could leverage some decent combat. It's not the best card, but it's a C+. It's like rock solid. It could perform well in some decks. Maybe you want to stack these so that now with like Mila, Crafty Companion, they're never going to target your guy, and it's not worth a divination.
Yeah, exactly. So next is Fiendlash. It's a C, and it's another card that is middle of the road, average card, but I love it.
This could be nuts. This could be so nuts. I'm just imagining all the scenarios where this blows people up.
It makes your creature a stuffy doll.
Yeah, it does make a creature a stuffy doll.
Come on.
It doesn't care how much damage it takes too.
I love this card.
Yeah. Oh, my 10/10. Ping it. Deal 10 to you. Ping it. Deal 10 to you.
I love this card. It's so cool. I wish that it was a little better.
I think it's pretty good. It's a C because like where's it gonna? It's so specific and it has minimal synergy.
Yeah, I think this card is good, and I think I'm definitely gonna find a home for it. But it's a little sad that it's not better.
It's just weird. It's a good card, but it's weird. Grave Endeavor. This is a really mediocre reanimate spell, but it could be each opponent loses 10 life. That's kind of neat.
And you gain 10. I mean, this card is okay. You're rolling 2 dice. You're probably always picking the drain to be the higher number and then putting the counters on.
Could care less about how many counters my creature gets.
Yeah, not really interested in that. This card is okay.
C-.
So overcosted for a reanimation spell. You got to care about the other thing. And then there's a dice roll. It's the reward for the card has to be great, and the middle of the road has to be great.
Yeah, the middle of the road is reanimate something and they lose. You're definitely going to get a lose 5 out of this.
Oh, it's a rough one. It's just such a rough card, and I'm not interested because the middle of the road's not that great, and the floor is awful. 7-mana reanimate, get out of here. Moving on to Grim Hireling, gave this one a B. You can get up to 6 treasures each combat. The removal spell's just gravy. You don't really even care about that too much. This guy can get you a lot of treasure, especially if you have a lot of dumb dorks that are going to sneak through.
Send them in, have them, suicide attack into bigger threats. Get some treasures when you make contact, and then just replay some stuff. Get your value. You save your mana for next turn. Hold up an instant. Your possibilities are endless. Kill 5 creatures because you have 20 treasures. Go crazy.
Yeah, I think this card is just strong. It's just a very strong card that's going to get you a lot of treasures very easily, especially because you know this in your deck. You're going to at least have some cards that are going to get in for sure.
Oh, yeah. Hellish Rebuke. It is a weird niche card that you're never going to cast. They have to be attacking you with 1,000,000, and it kind of just says, we both die? Why would I ever play that? Why would I ever do that? I can play cards that say, I don't die, or you do die.
This card stinks. It is so bad. I was reading, I'm like, what
am I missing?
What am I missing? Is it? Oh, maybe it's worded. Nope. No, that's bad. No, that's really. Yeah. This card's it's bad.
Yeah. Holy Avenger. How about that?
Holy Avenger. This is an equipment. Let's just go to the cost to see how bad to like really go through this. You're gonna end up paying 4 white to get this onto 1 creature. Then when it attacks, you got to make contact to get the other effect. It only gives double strike. Just not worth it. It's too much. The equip cost is too high on this.
Well, hold on. We're also putting equipment in our Auras deck or vice versa to make this work. It's just never going to gel with it. You got to have specifically the Bant both matter commander, or else you're just not going to be interested in this.
It's like one deck. Yeah. It's a specific deck that cares about auras and equipment's not that interesting.
Hurl Through Hell is a pretty interesting card, and I get to say, hurl through hell, your creature. It's a C. You exile it, but then you can cast it next turn, so it has potential to basically just say gain control of a creature.
I love this card. It's so middle of the road, though. It's just
it's 4 mana.
It's so mediocre as a removal spell.
Yeah.
And I might have even overgraded it. But I love it so much. It's this playing your opponent's stuff is like I say it all the time. It's one of my favorite things to do. And this is one of the other ones. Maybe this is trending more toward a D because it really is just it's a 4 mana removal spell. That's pretty expensive.
Right. And it doesn't do anything if you hit a commander.
Yeah.
Because they're never going to be like, okay, sure.
Stupid. I want to
cast my spell.
Cast my commander. I'll let you.
Immovable Rod. I kind of just want to say it's a D- and move on for real. Like, I just don't.
It's so bad. It's so.
It keeps something tapped, right? And I'm just not.
It like makes it have no abilities and can't attack a block.
Oh, right.
It's like, what is this card? This is the worst removal spell I've ever seen.
It's probably a flavor win, so let's just give it that credit. Berserker's Frenzy. Barely playable. If you're like the quirky change blocks attacks deck, you can do it. It's just not worth a card for us.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, it isn't worth a card overall, and that's why I'm not super interested. I'll make a bunch of your creatures block. It's like, yeah, but then there's the classic, like, oh, but what if you don't win the high roll? Then it's like, now you don't even get to choose where they block. I'll block good for myself.
Yeah, you have to, like, find your 1 in a million spot and then also win a die roll.
Yeah, so no thank you on that one. Indomitable Might is right after that. F. This card stinks. I absolutely see no home for this card whatsoever.
You just did it. Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
This card does stink. I mean, I'll flash it in to make my creature get over your guy. Wow.
We just have unblockable spells, dude.
Why are you playing that? Don't
No.
get out of here. Next
No.
is Klaus Will B+, one of the best cards from the set.
Why are you playing this card? Because it's great.
Because it's just amazing. Yeah, it does a Helios intervention.
An earthquake. It's basically those two combined in an instant.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the best of both worlds. You control all the modes, so you can't kill anything of yours you don't want to.
This card's great. I just literally think this card is just so stellar. You just need to meet the slight build around things of having your commander out. And maybe even you don't even have to have that. That's how good this card is.
Yeah, it'll be functional both ways. Green-red staple, for sure.
Definitely.
Maddening Hex. This is a curse that will roll dice, deal damage, and then just go, boop, jump over to someone else.
I think this card's good. I think this card is, we talked about the dragon earlier.
Yeah.
That's going to get a lot of damage. I think this will do the same thing. It's just going to get a lot of damage.
Like, oh, that's probably not going to go to me.
Yeah. So it's just like you just get to go every single time, just like they cast a spell. They're going to cast spells. That's how the game of Magic works. They roll a d6, take that much damage, move it. Then the next guy is going to cast a spell because it's rough if it keeps going to the guy behind them.
Right, but it might go to the guy in front of them.
Exactly.
Or
So
girl.
I really do think that this card can deal a lot of damage. Is it crazy good? No, it's not crazy or insane, but it is. I think it can get a lot of damage over the course of a game.
C+.
Yes. And next is Mantle of Ancients. It's a C+. This card's cool. It does, like, when you play it, one, it gives your guy +1/+1 for each equipment and ore on it.
Yeah.
And then it does a nice retether of your equipment and ores straight to it.
Retether is big if you've been filling the graveyard.
Yes. This card I just think is strong.
Just strong, but you got to be in the right deck, so it's cuttable everywhere else other than I'm the aura deck. I'm the equipment deck.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, it doesn't go up to B because you need a lot more building rounds for this, which ups all the way to C because it's narrow. The card is incredibly narrow, but if you're in that deck, it's going to perform well. Midnight Pathlighter, it's a D+. I am not a big fan of this card. Yeah, it can make your guys pretty unblockable, and that's not too bad. But one thing to remember in this format is everybody has access to legendary creatures, so that's huge. And on top of that, oh no, I got through. Venture into the dungeon.
Scry 1, make a goblin, make a treasure, draw a card. It's like, okay, slow down there, buddy. But you can only get 3 triggers per turn.
I'm just not interested. This card kind of just stinks.
I think if it said whenever a creature, then we'd be talking. Because you hit with 10 creatures, you're just like finishing dungeons over and over.
No, that'd be good. But unfortunately, they kept the dungeons in check, so you can't go crazy.
Yeah, I understand that. How about Netherese Puzzle Ward? This is a D-. It's got the scry something at your upkeep, but you don't know what you're going to scry. Maybe you draw a card at 25% chance if you roll the highest number on the die. I'm not taking that risk. This is Phyrexian Arena.
This card it stinks. It stinks so bad. What are we doing here? We're trying to roll the highest on a dice. Anyone that's not a D4 is your odds just get worse and worse. There's not even that many cards that roll D4s. Sorry, this card is awful.
Scry 3 on upkeep is okay. You're just like, I want cards. I need cards. This is Phyrexian Arena wearing the Groucho glasses. You went that way.
It's so slow. And you never get a card. I know scrying eventually adds up to a card, but at what point? After 15 turns of your useless enchantment sitting there?
Which reminds me of the next card. Never Works Hydra. It's a D, and it's XX green, and you're going to just be dissatisfied no matter what happens.
Yeah.
I think, maybe there's some decks where you're rolling dice and you got counter synergies, but mostly it's a D.
It's just not good enough. I mean, you're rolling dice to make the Hydra potentially big. The floor just stinks so hard on these things.
Snake Eyes, baby.
What if you roll 2 dice and you roll Snake Eyes and then you spend 6 mana on a 2/2?
What if you spend 6 mana and you get the perfect roll and you spend 6 mana on a 12/12? We're still not even anywhere.
It's not even that good.
It's not even that good.
It's not bad, but it's not that good.
Yeah, it's just a big vanilla. I mean, Gigantosaurus is a 5 mana 10/10. I'm not playing that card.
Not even in any of my decks ever.
For any reason.
And next is Phantom Steed. It's a C. I really like this card. You flash it in, you exile something, and when you attack, you get to make little copies of it. It's pretty cool.
So best case scenario, save your creature, and then here's some more.
Yeah, exactly. You get to. This is only for an ETB deck, very specifically. I think it's actually not going to make most ETB lists if you're very efficient and looking, and you have access to almost every card. But I think there's definitely some homes for this card.
Maybe you want to trend towards combat mattering more. Radiant Solar is a C, and this is a good way for your creatures now entering to trigger, venturing a dungeon. And you can weirdly like discard it to venture, but I don't think you should do that unless you're about to complete something. So it's a nice little tack down ability. But this is probably one of like top 5 ways to venture into the dungeon.
Yeah, for sure. Because you can just keep doing it very easily. And this card is fine. And the fact that it does let you venture so much is good, but it's overcosted. And that's why it's a C.
Although here's the thing. Don't need venture synergies because I think this is enough in a deck that's not like CEDH or 8, 9, 10. This is enough of an ETB to just play this by itself.
Yeah, I mean, this is weirdly also a little payoff for any infinite loop like Comic Item Revlark. You can just go through dungeons infinitely, which means you can drain people infinitely because we're gonna go through the dark pools over and over again, guys.
Get ready to get your shorts wet because we're going into the dark pool. Reckless Endeavor. Now this is the 7-mana sorcery. Blow up most things, everything, nothing. Get some treasures, medium treasures, tons of treasures, and we think it's a B-. Basically, all that adds up to, on average, this is a really good card.
Yeah, exactly. I think the average is very good in this. Obviously, you have to deal with the B. The reason it's not higher is because you have to deal with the fact that sometimes this card will just suck. You're gonna roll the 2 dice, you're gonna get a 3, you're gonna get a 4, and you're gonna go, yikes, that's not that good.
I needed a board wipe.
And you got to deal with that sometimes, and that's why this card only gets a B-. But the ceiling in the middle ground, very, very good. This card can do a lot. If you ever roll 2 12s, dealing 12 damage to everything, that's a board wipe.
-5 mana spent on this.
And then you gain an extra 5 mana. Yeah, so there, the ceiling. You want the higher number to be your treasures usually, if you can.
I know what this is, Joe. It's the ceiling is through the roof.
The ceiling is through the roof. Classic Beezy, he really loves that saying.
All right, here's a low ceiling for you. It's Revivify. D-. It is build your own Fates Reward. Fates Reward is not that good, and it's better than this.
This card, what? Well, just play. I don't put Fates Reward in any decks.
No.
This card is worse.
You have to work for it. Play Brought Back. That's actually a good Magic card.
This one's not. This is a poop Magic card made for poop. Poop, 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 poop.
Made for a civilization of poop people. Ride the Avalanche. I'm sorry, it's an F. It's not worth the card. Giving flashes is almost irrelevant. Just don't play it.
Yeah, it's not worth it overall. You're just spending. The card doesn't replace itself, and that's where the whole issue comes in.
You'll have to show me some kind of combo before I'm playing this. Yeah, I don't think that exists.
I don't think so either. So next we have a Robe of Stars, B-. We talked about how awesome this card is. Keep your best thing around forever, essentially. It's not going away.
Yeah, the only thing I want to mention before we move on is play pattern, I think, more so than holding up the mana, is smash in, do your thing on your turn, then main phase, just boop, phase out.
Yeah, so what you do on your turn is you untap, attack, go to your second main phase. The first thing you do in that second main phase, phase it out.
Right.
And then if they try and respond, well, this is easy. I'll phase it out again.
Phase it out again. So they're not going to fight over it. They can't. You have too much mana untapped. So that means you don't have to hold up the mana. You can use all the mana from your turn, and they're stuck wondering what they're going to do about this.
Yeah. So you want this in a deck that has one big, huge threat, like, I don't know, the Commander, maybe?
Yeah, like Zatalpa. That was on my mind because it wasn't in these precons.
Oh, Zatalpa. That's a fun Magic card.
Bring it back. Bring back Zatalpa. Rod of Absorption. Absorbing is what I think of.
It's slow.
It's a D.
It's a D. It's a very slow Magic card. It can kind of add up over time.
You do get to say absorbing.
Absorbing.
Ooh, that's good.
Absorption.
Share of the spoils is an F. You don't want to share the spoils. I want to win. So if that's not the case, share the spoils.
I laughed because I went, who's ever going to play this card? And BZ goes, you literally have a deck you're going to put it. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, like, you're playing it, right? Automatically.
Yeah, it's going in my Tybalt deck. It's really bad, though. I am aware it's an F. You just don't want to have, everybody shouldn't have access to all this stuff. You do get to be, you want to play this later game when you're going to be the first one with access to this stuff, but it's still very medium.
I've figured out one of their favorite ways to add meaningless text to a card. It is the closest you're ever going to get to flavor text whenever a player loses the game. And there's a trigger on it. Like, I'm thinking Blood Tyrant. Whoa, 5 counters. Withinger Unbound. 13 counters. This is like, I don't know, I get a treasure or something. And just, oh man. Stop adding that text. There's other stuff too, but I can't even remember. Curse of Vengeance too. That was the whole card.
That was the whole card.
How much life? 5?
You gotta be Canterbury.
So, Song of Inspiration.
What's that do?
Well, Joe, I regret to inform you, not much. It's a D. This is an overcosted, underwhelming, not worth the die roll, not worth your time Magic card.
This is awful. This card is awful. I mean,
how would you describe it in 5 words?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks. Yeah, don't play this card.
No.
Just there's a million better ways to return cards from your graveyard to your hand.
You're green. You don't need this. There's like commons and uncommons that do this stuff.
Much better.
Thorough investigation, C+, rock solid, Boros, mono white. If you want to draw cards, this is pretty good. And you actually get draw card plus, because when you venture, every 4 can be worth a card if you want to go to the middle dungeon. Mm-hmm. I only say middle because that's where Arena loads them, and I won't bother. I won't bother to actually memorize the names right now. I know Mad Mage, Tomb of Annihilation. I actually know the other 2.
What's the middle one?
I don't know. Caves of Blip Zop.
Blip Zop. Ooh, that's our favorite legend coming in the next set.
Coming in.
Blip Zop.
He changed his name a little bit, but he's still the same old Blip Zop.
Did he?
Yeah,
maybe.
He was something else.
Might have been Blip Zop.
Just play thorough investigation in your white, and next struggle with card draw. It's going to be actually pretty good. C+.
What's the next card?
It's Valiant Endeavor. The real endeavor is just remembering what all these cards do. This one is going to board wipe. You kind of want to roll a low number to wipe everything, and then you're going to make some knights.
Yeah, this card is not that great. It's
a C-. It'll wipe the board. You might have a knight deck or a creature deck that wants this. I don't think it's terrible. It's in the middle of the road for whiteboard wipes, which is not bad.
It is a weird one because it actively is wanting you to roll a low number.
Yeah, which is the same as rolling high. It's just the same thing. You just don't think about it being.
Well, yeah, but it's the only one that does that.
It's not intuitive.
Yeah, it's not intuitive. You want to roll a 1 and a 6.
Right. You want to get a split.
Yeah, you want to split. So it's totally fine. It's a board wipe. That's why it's a C-. It's way overcosted and it's not that great, but still a board wipe. None.
Probably better than like Martial Coup. Not a huge Martial Coup guy.
Wow, yeah, Martial Coup.
That's in the lower half.
Though the bar was set so high there by Martial Coup.
Vengeful Ancestors next, and we have it at D+, although if you're in a Go deck, moves up to like a C+, B-, maybe. It forces something to attack on ETB. It's just a red creature with flying. There's not a lot of those that are... I mean, there's dragons, but this just feels weird to me. It's just a 3/4 for 4 with flying, and it even is a dragon, so maybe I'm just being weird. It also gives you the bonus of when they attack, because they have no choice. Boop, pings them for 1.
Yeah, also, weird thing about this card is, does that look like a dragon at all?
It's one of those dragonkins, so it's like humanoid. It's a humanoid dragonkin spirit.
It's so weird looking. It looks so weird to me.
I mean, how many red spirits are there? Like 10 ever?
Yeah.
I mean,
no
one counts Kamigawa.
They're all from Lorehold?
Yeah, that. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. That doesn't count either, so that my statement is more interesting.
Oh, okay. That's fair. Next is Wand of Orcus. It's a C+. I really like this card.
Better than him.
Yeah, you put it on a creature, you attack with all your zombies, they get Death Touch. Now they don't want to block because they have Death Touch, but also they don't want to let them through because you get more zombies. Cool card.
Interesting dilemma that it presents. Wild Endeavor. This is the Wild Endeavor. This is the one that's wild.
Yeah, but you won't believe this. It actually involves rolling 2 die.
Oh, it's mediocre. Look, the die roll cards are really cool, but they don't translate to powerful cards because they can't be really good and then really great. I understand. I think it's totally fine. It's healthy for the format. These cards are really cool. They're going to see a ton of play, but like the rest of them, mostly, this one just says, bleh, you have better options.
How medium is this card?
Very.
It's so medium. Like the best
D4s.
The best result, and it's not a bad Magic card. It's 6 mana, get 4 beasts, get 4 lands.
Okay.
That isn't even a card I'm interested in.
I mean, that's 1 in 16 times too, right?
That's not unreasonable. Like, seriously, I don't know if I'm putting that in decks.
If you got it every time, maybe, because you could really take advantage of it, but you just can't control what you actually get. And I'm not spending 6 mana for almost anything less than what you said.
It's probably just like a C if it does all those things every time.
Yeah, it'll be like it's a Nissa's what's it, the
Pilgrimage,
5 and a green, get 3 lands tapped, gain 7. It's similar to that.
Yeah,
this is renewal.
Yeah, it's a fine card. It's not horrible, but I'm never putting it in a deck. That's for sure.
How about Wild Magic Sorcery? You putting that in a deck?
Yes, BZ. Yes, I am putting it in a deck.
Whoa!
Because this card cares about casting cards from exile, and my Tibble deck loved casting cards from exile.
Apparently, they just reskinned Tybalt and made it a precon for Joe. He's got like 10 cards to do. But this doesn't just go in some random stupid Joe's Tybalt deck. It goes in any Cascade deck, any deck that's trying to rebound, suspend, foretell, like I said about the other guy. This just triggers a lot of things. Like, okay, cast a Cascade spell. All right, hit this. It has Cascade.
Yeah, you chain that.
Only once, but it's not even, but it's crazy good.
Yeah, you just chain it along. It's nice. This card is pretty good, and I think it's got enough value. It's a nice C+. You need to be casting cards from exile. That is a tall task because it's not like there are a decent number of cards that do that. But in the grand scheme of Magic, there's very few cards that
Less
do that.
than 1%.
Yeah, so. And the last one here, D+ for Winged Boots.
Lightning Greaves is not that great.
This card, I mean, haste is so much better than flying. So there's
evasion plus not hexproof. It's more of a choice of tap out or answer it versus you just can't answer it.
Yeah, it's just not good. Winged Boots stink. So
yeah, they're just not that great. Somebody's smelly feet were in there and now they stink.
Yeah, they also look like they're huge.
They look like they're walking.
I don't know how big they are or how big they're supposed to be, but they literally look like giant boots. And I imagine there's just someone in the boot flying it.
There's like a pilot
like the ship,
with goggles on. That's what I'm picturing.
All right. So
the video's over.
Yeah, that is the end of the video. Special shout outs to all of our patrons. Love you all as much as you can. Without, of course, making you uncomfortable.
Never.
You guys are awesome. You're our fan base, and you're known as the Poopy Babies.
Affectionately. You can go to the
course.
TCG player link. We got it for you in the description. It's right where it always is. It's that comfy little spot down below. Check the description. Buy the cards from the link. You can buy them normally, but you won't support the channel. Use the link, and you will support the channel by basically creating money in our pockets just by being a nice person. That's so nice of you.
Yeah, I mean, if you like this channel and you want to support it, but you're going to buy Magic cards anyway, you use the link, you send that support our way, and we feel the love every time someone purchases through that link.
Yeah, by all means, buy the cards you want before you support a YouTube channel. But what if you could do both?
Exactly. And you can easily using the link in the description below.
That reminds me of the tidbit, which I guess we're basically at. Before I do that, I'm going to tell you, check out the Discord. Come play Commander. Come hang out with us.
Link in
Voice
the
chat,
description for that
general
too.
chat, memes, stickers of our faces that are really fun to abuse. Okay. That made me think of the Morpheus meme of like, what if I told you? Remember that one? Remember that really outdated like iFunny meme?
What if I told you? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any other outdated memes? I don't know. This is the
well, I mean, you mentioned Morpheus. There's the red blue. There's the red blue.
That's
red pill, blue pill.
Funny decision.
Yeah, exactly. Where
it's like become like the ultimate, I don't know, sex appeal or something, and then like everybody wants to have sex with you or something. I don't know why I went there.
That's weird because that's not even a funny choice.
Well, it's like a would you rather. It's like, oh, this is a great. Maybe no, wait, that's not even. No, you have to choose one. That's not even a right. Because then you could just pick.
Are you having trouble with this meme?
I forget what the formula. I can't think of a.
There's also.
What's the example of it? Because I just screwed that up so bad.
I can't really think of an example. Usually, it's just like two choices that you would choose between.
Maybe it's like
invisibility or shapeshifting.
Yeah, or like step on a Lego and like stub your toe or something. And you have to pick one. And they both stink.
There's also one does not simply.
Ooh, one does not simply. It's Walk into Mordor is the original one, right?
That's
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean. It's a very old meme. There's
the Freddie Mercury poses, the like victory guy. That was one.
I don't think I know that one off the top of my head.
That's from like Rage Comics, which just should not be used anymore. I mean,
oh yeah,
past that.
Actually, no, I know what you're thinking. Rage Comics are super old.
The troll
memes.
face.
That's still around. That's new memes that I don't get. The baby. What is going on with the baby?
I don't understand 12-year-olds. Let's go back to Rage Comics for a second, because your boyfriend Chad showed us that Rebecca Black like 10-year anniversary thing. It was
Friday.
Pretty recent. It is the worst thing I've ever seen. It was eye poison.
It was terrible. It looked like she was trying to appeal to the fans of the time when the video came out. But those people are all 30 now.
Well, hold on. There weren't any, first of all. It's like 10 people who like that song.
My one teacher, or the one teacher I worked with at the daycare, would always play it on Friday for the kids.
I thought it was nice. Sometimes I don't know what seat to sit in. All right, we're done here.
We are definitely done. We're ranting. Peace out, Tribe Scout.